an update, 25th of November 2025. So the lupin is in full bloom. It's actually kind of getting towards the end of the bloom. The gladioli are getting closer to bloom, but obviously not quite there yet. Got a snapdragon there, and multiple coloured alyssum, so purple and white, not that many colours, but there you go. I think that's seaside daisy, I'm not sure. Obviously needs a bit more weeding, but they have done some weeding. But we'll go around the front. Start with the aquiledias, and this is I've got a number of aquiledias, but this one, there was a support worker who was going past with her, I guess, client this past week or so, and she actually stopped and took pictures, and had I gotten to her fast enough, I would have said she could take cuttings, but I like the fact that other people are enjoying my garden as well. I believe this is a hebe. It's got some very lovely flowers on it now. Big blooming on there. And then we have, I can't remember, it's like Winter Rouge, or there's the other one, Australian Natives. Bit of weeding there, a whole lot of poppies there. And then we have extended the front garden bed, so it's come along quite a ways. I'll go across this way. Lavender there. The lemon tree, which is actually budding a bit for the first time ever. And by the window there, the liliums are starting to get close to blooming. A number of nigella throughout there, some poppies, and the raspberry ripple type rose. I see a weed there, ignore that one. And then the front, there's a snapdragon there. I think, actually that's a nigella there. Cornflowers, I think. Here we can see salvia, because it says so on the label. And a number of other ones. And then, I'm finally actually getting the seeds of these. Now, these, when I put them into an app to say what they were, said they're opium poppies, which would be interesting because you're not supposed to be able to sell opium poppies to obviously the general public in Australia. So if they are, I'm assuming there's some mix-up with one of my poppy orders, because I've had, I think the small ones there, I think those are California poppies, and I think the big ones are Oriental poppies. But, yeah, I think I was paused for a moment. Sorry, someone's just going past. So it'll be interesting to see what happens, or what they end up like, but they do kind of look like they have the same flower head as poppies. So anyway, we'll see what happens. It's a bit interesting, that one. It's got some nice yellow poppies there as well, which is good. Some more cornflowers. More of the mystery flower, which could be an illegal poppy. And then I can't remember what these particular flowers are. I think they're just the ones that I took from over here somewhere. Actually, there's some just there. And sort of scattered the seeds, but I like the fact that there's some pink and purpley ones now. It's very nice. And across this way, again, some more liliums. And these flowers, as people probably would have known, are irises. And yes, I do have a number of yellow ones, and then I do have a blue one. So they've all gone over now. And the dahlias, these are the ones that I grew from seed, like a packet of seeds. They're coming up now very slowly, but they're there, so that's alright. And some snapdragons. This is in the mound of excess dirt that I got from levelling my front yard here. Hollyhock, which looks a bit worse for wear, but it actually has flowers on it, so that's nice. And all the noise of the cars behind. I actually weeded this recently, which is what all that is. Obviously it still needs more weeding, but it is definitely a lot more clear of weeds than it was. More snapdragons, and then we have the original lupin. And a number of aquiledias. These ones obviously all have the same sort of flower. But I think this might be the aquileda that I took the original seeds from and dispersed everywhere, and then found that aquileda actually tends to grow in many different colours and many different shapes, which is quite interesting. The Daphne is, well, it looks like it's fallen over, but it's kind of the growth pattern of it. I need to weed around there. My seemingly everlasting Alison, which I could have sworn was meant to be an annual, but that's been there for I think about 3 years now. The fruit trees are looking a bit worse for wear. I did actually spray them at the start of the season, but they're still doing that, and yet we have fruit. And actually this one's put on some new growth as well, so I don't know whether it's just sort of having a new flush. I think this one's got quite a nice bit of green growth, but only one obvious fruit. Anyway, we should go around the back. The veggie patch. Well, I say that and then I'll show some grapes. So this is the grapevine, the main one, the white one. And it seems to have quite a few grape clusters on it. I actually cut this back quite a bit because I think what happened last year with it having the black sort of spots, I think it was basically just mildew and such because it wasn't getting enough airflow. I'm actually curious to see if it gets enough now with less coverage on it, because of course it's still against the fence, so it might still go a bit funny, but at least there's some above the level, as it were. The red one, which hasn't really fruited that much, certainly not to any point of having good bunches of grapes, is doing quite well climbing up there now after I generously trained it to do so. The geranium's still doing nicely there. I may end up having to move that because I suspect that's going to grow quite big. Most of my alliums are now bolting. Well, not bolting, but they're going to seed anyway, so I'm still picking them out as I go, though. These are, I'm fairly sure, all leeks, at least the ones I've pulled out so far have been. And then if we go up again, I've weeded a lot here recently. That is a pink fir apple that I pulled last night because I wanted some potatoes for dinner. I thought, look, I'll just see if there are any of one of those ready, and they're definitely not. You can sort of see there, the little one. There was one that I got out of it, but I just kind of put those back and thought maybe they can regrow. But anyway, so there should be a number of pink fir apples there, and then the other seed potato that I bought, the binchy ones, which should be over here, and again, ignore that because I hadn't noticed that before. Anyway, these look like they are possibly going to seed. I'm guessing that might have been a purple sprouting broccoli, but I'm not sure. It's definitely brassica. I put a whole bunch of them here. I just can't remember which one I put in there, but that'll be interesting. I couldn't remember if it was that or if it was a kohlrabi, but that does not look like a kohlrabi, so but it also doesn't look like that's a nice tight cluster. So ho-hum. Are they flies on there? Anyway, that's all that. Now, there's a big clear area here now because I harvested some broad beans. These broad beans I actually put in essentially as a cover crop because I find the beans very fiddly to harvest, but then I saw something saying that you can basically fry the beans in them. I couldn't quite clarify whether you're supposed to double pod them. I can get them out of the main pod and then pop the little seeds out. So I did do the double podding. And I actually wonder if I should do it the other way, but we shall see. I actually have an onion there. It's obviously, actually I suppose because that's over, that should actually be harvested now. But anyway, there's also some onions over there. We have the corn, or one batch of corn. There is actually another batch over here, which is another reason why I took out the weed. Another reason I took out the weed. Another reason why I took out the broad beans, because they were kind of shading this area a bit, and I thought I'd give them a bit more room to grow. I'll go back. Scrunch. Oh yes, and the silver beet or chard, specifically rainbow chard there. It's gotten a bit big, so I might just actually cut that down, because I think people have said that you can cut it down and it'll regrow sort of the fresh leaves, so we'll see how that goes. Some alyssum here as well, just because it's nice to have some colour and flowers in amongst everything else. There's a chance some of this is garlic, but I don't quite remember. This one is celery, but it's obviously going to seed there. That's okay. Some more broad beans. I have some either snow peas or sugar snap peas. I can't remember which, but either way they're quite nice. My youngest keeps picking them and eating them, so the rest of us don't really get any, but that's okay. This is, I think, part of the cucurbit family. So it's either cucumber, zucchini. It could be a pumpkin, but I don't think it is. I think that's yes, either zucchini or cucumber. And then I have watermelon there. What's the good companion planting? I can't remember. The flower that I basically got for free has been decimated. Well, I mean, you can see that basically the leaves have all been eaten off there. Magnolia? No, not magnolia. Anyway. Oh, okay, I'm going to show you this because it's, well, yep, big weed that needs to be pulled out. I'll get there. Anyway, rhubarb's doing well. The gooseberry is doing well, but I obviously need to weed around it, especially that one. The bamboo is still not getting overly tall, but we do have a fresh spike there, so that could come out all right. These are brassicas that I put in here, I think just because I had space, and I thought, why not? Over here, this little one here is my loofah. And it doesn't look like it's grown at all since I put it there, but it also doesn't look like it's dead, so it should be all right. Have snapdragon. You can see some other snapdragons there. That's a self-seeded, I'm going to guess blackberry or possibly raspberry. And we have more of these, potentially opium poppies, which is a bit interesting, but there you go. Anyway, the Yosterberry, and I looked it up, and yes, that is how you pronounce it, because it's apparently a German hybrid, I guess. So that was some gardening with Michael that I learnt of that. Some more snapdragons, because they're just pretty flowers, because why not? The blueberry bush is doing all right there. The cuttings of the gooseberry are doing fine there. A whole bunch of the remains of the broad beans. Hollyhock, which has been there for about 2 or 3 years. Weeds in amongst nigella and poppies. This is the fruit tree that I took from the garden around the back. There's potatoes around the base, of course, because obviously I use my own compost. But that's actually growing, so that's good. That'll make a nice little bookend, as it were, to the apple tree, which has plenty of apples on it. So this is the Granny Smith apple that I bought from the store, which I believe is actually a grafted apple tree. So this is my sort of guaranteed I get apples. Well, I say that, but I have had some apples off it, but they haven't been overly big yet. But this is, I think it's 3rd year here, so we'll see how it goes. My raspberries, which are the Chilcotin, I think, variety. I think they're supposed to be autumn fruiting. Last year kind of had a bit of a mix-up and didn't do so well, but we'll see how it goes this year. The pond has a lot of its plant life growing quite well. Some little flowers on there. And we have certainly one of the telescopic eye fish is in there. I don't think there are any others, so I assume that the second, because obviously the third one died, I think, in the hailstorm. The second one, I assume, has either been caught by a bird or passed away and sunk to the bottom or something, but there is one that pops up. I think it's just a bit too cool at the moment and early in the day, but it tends to float at the surface, so if the other one was taken by a bird or cat or something, it's not overly surprising. But there are still the little cloud whitefish pop up from time to time, so that's good as well. another gooseberry cutting. That one's the Vinci potatoes, and that one's the pink fir apples. And into the greenhouse. See, I'm such a good gardener, I can even grow greenery in my concrete floor. Weeds, but yeah, they obviously find any soil that they can and go from there. There's my collection of different sunflowers. So I have dwarf soleil. What do we have with this one? Giant teddy. So these are the teddy bear ones. So from a number of channels, specifically in this case, I'm going to say House of Ted, they had teddy bear sunflowers, and they're really nice and fluffy, so I wanted some of those, and I managed to find some. Here we have Sun King on the end, then the ones that look like they're very poorly and probably won't go anywhere, but that's all right. Royal Velvet, F1 apparently. Then we have Giant Single. The back one there is not looking so good, but that one looks okay. And then we have Butternut Squash, or Pumpkin, but that looks like it's actually had the top nibbled off it, which is annoying. And then we have a Giant Pumpkin there. Hopefully that one doesn't get nibbled off, because I want to try that one. It's, I think, what might be called a 100-weight in the Northern Hemisphere. I think we call it beach ball or something like that, but also it says it should grow to about 50 kilos, so we'll see what happens. This is before I topped up my store-bought compost and potting mix, so this is obviously from my own ground, which is why we have weed, that's not weed, that's actually brassica, weed, and I think those are weeds as well. But then we also have some ox heart tomatoes, cauliflower, and cabbage there. I did transport some of those out to here, and it looks like they've been eaten. But anyway, I think watermelon. Obviously, I didn't label that one. This one is Rouge de Maman tomato. So I put it in here because I wanted to pot them up, or pot it up first. Actually, yeah, there is another one over there, which I think might be the ox heart. The reason I did that is because I keep trying to grow one over here, and you might be able to see the leaves keep getting nibbled off, which is extremely annoying. Do some strawberries though, so that's nice. I am currently working on making a strawberry bed for this. Oh, the avocado is looking quite healthy actually at the moment, because I think I've had enough heat for it to pick up a bit. I'll just come back over this way. Not entirely sure what these are, because I got this pot as second hand sort of thing, and it already had the soil in it. I'm thinking they're flowers, although that actually looks like it's more like a maple tree possibly. Anyway, the kiwi fruit is still going all right, that one there, and then we have this one over here. Now, I have got them to this stage before, and then I've accidentally killed them, so I'm cautiously trying to get them past that stage. We shall see how we go. A few weeds and things here. A couple of seed potatoes here. I can't remember if these are actually ones from my seed potatoes, or if these are actually just potatoes that I thought, look, I'll plant out. I think they're the seed potatoes, in which case, by the looks of them, I'd say those are the Vinci ones, but we shall see. Plenty more strawberries here, which is good. A bit of colour in some of those. Oh, there's some colour, so that's good. So again, I want to plant those out, but we'll get around to that at some point. Got the mint. There should be garlic there. This bit on the end is ginger, and that's some store-bought ginger. I just sort of snapped some off and put some in, and it looks like it has taken, which is good. More mint. I think there's a silver beet, and then again there should be garlic in there, and that was a parsley. Got an aloe vera which actually came with the house, and that's doing its little flowering. And I'll duck around the back, and then quickly, that's the strawberry planter to be. So I'll probably paint that just to give it a bit of protection from the elements. I'll see how we go. Now we have, if I can find it, unless anyone has now actually picked it up, which I hope they haven't. This is a plum tree, well, a cherry plum I think is what it is, that I've grown from seed, and for the first year it actually has fruit on it. So that's, it's not much, like I think there were 3 or so, and the youngest has actually taken 1 or 2, but yeah, it's actually fruiting this year, which is good. It's going to be quite a sprawling at some point. Yeah, that area. I did pull out a bunch of the sticky weeds, so it's a little bit clear of that, but there's still a bunch of other things. I have put some button-up pumpkin seeds in there, so hopefully they'll start growing and cover it with nicer stuff. The smaller of the two not self-grown, apples that I've grown from seed that I've collected. Some snapdragon, weeds in the back that I'll have to get to. I have weeded here, obviously, and this is the main one of the two apples. I don't say main because it's the one that's grown the most prominently. I just noticed there's a snapped bit of branch at the top. That's not so good. I might pull that out. I'll put it over here. I don't think it's going to grow, but especially not the way I'm putting it in there. But anyway, if nothing else, that'll become mulch, and that's fine too. So we have some sweet peas here. Again, I think the Riverside Daisy, Snapdragon, and my pink lavender, which is quite nice. The Hebe in the back, again looking very nice, and the Dahlia coming up there. Again, did a bit of weeding here recently. It might not look it, but that's why I have all these bits of drying plant matter. I can't remember what that one is, but it's obviously sort of going over a bit now. I still have... Let's get that out of the way. I still have this one here. I suspect it's not alive anymore, but don't have anything else that needs to go in that area, so that's fine. This I actually cut back quite a bit, and it's growing back again now. Oh, and a little bit of colour to it as well. Anyway, that is the garden. 25th of November 2025. Thank you for watching, and happy gardening.